Hey everybody, welcome to your October Coronado Neighborhood Market Update. My name is Wes Ballou. I'm with Brokers Hub Realty. I live in the Coronado neighborhood, and this is all data that I am collecting and synthesizing, so it's proprietary information. It is specific to the Coronado neighborhood. Other sites that you will use that aggregate data, such as Cromford Report, do so specifically by either city or zip code or both. Not to step on any toes over there. I use Cromford. They're great. They just don't have the specificity that we need for a lot of the Central Phoenix neighborhoods because the zip codes do not follow our neighborhoods. So anyway, as we're looking forward into this data, you'll see that we're still seeing some price drops, still kind of seeing some negative stuff, although we have seen some rebound in some of these numbers from the summertime. Hopefully we are kind of at the end of the price decreases overall, as it looks like it's starting to kind of level off. So let's get into the data. Starting off with the number of active homes, you can see that this number basically peaked in July and has been dropping more or less since. This is a trend that's kind of playing out valley-wide. Sellers are getting a little bit frustrated. We're in a new market, and it's one that we have not seen in a very long time, where buyers have more of the advantage and homes aren't selling as quickly. Sometimes they're having a reduced price, and there are more concessions involved with closing. Because of that, a lot of sellers have ended up canceling. Pending sales, you can see that this is somewhat of a volatile number, but we had basically a bottoming out in summertime with only a couple sales in a couple of the weeks that we measured, and that number has been climbing more or less since that time as we get into our fall season. If this year ends up being normal, which nothing about this year has been normal thus far, but if it does end up being normal, we will probably see this number begin to drop again as we head into fourth quarter. New listings, you can see that this number is a pretty volatile number, kind of swings up and down with no real discernible trend. So nothing really exciting to report here. Homes sold over the last 30 days. This is the kind of snapshot of what's going on in the market in the last month or so. This is a little bit more volatile number, but it does give us a little bit more responsive look at what's going on in the market. And this is an instance where that's kind of valuable. You can see that this number bottomed out at the beginning of August and has kind of steadily climbed since that time. So we're starting to see a little bit of a rebound in activity from the summer slump. Nothing to write home about, nothing crazy, but at least things have come back to life a little bit. Sold over the last 6 months. This is our more stable look at what's going on generally and more long-term in the market. You can see that this number has started to gradually decline over the last month or two. That is a result of a lot of our abbreviated spring market numbers dropping out of there. So nothing too incredibly scary there, spooky, just a gradual kind of trailing off. Average price drop. I feel like I have to explain this figure pretty much every time I do these updates. This is the average percentage of original list price that a seller has dropped. This includes both closed and actives. You can see that in July, when we had that big drop off that I talked about earlier in listings and the rise in cancellations, we also saw a drop in this percent that the prices were cut because those homes kind of drop out of the data. And since that time, early July, we have begun to see this number climb again. So buyers are again beginning to gain another advantage as sellers continue to have to lower their price to meet demand. Average sale price over the last 30 days, like the average number of sales over the last 30 days, this is our more volatile number, but it gives us a little bit more responsive way of looking at what's going on in the market. You can see that this number has begun to climb a little bit after our summer slump. So hopefully that's the general direction we're going to go with the market. Average sales price over the last 6 months. Now, this is kind of our big number that we need to report on in this update. We can see that this number has been dropping kind of pretty steadily throughout the year after a little blip upward in the spring. We hit a high of about 538,000 in March, and we are at right around 471,000 right now. So this is about a 12% drop. This is starting to get to be pretty significant. There are people now that are probably underwater in Coronado. Anyone who bought after 2022 is likely to have some potential to be underwater. If they were to go to list today, by the time they got through commissions and closing costs and all that sorts of thing, probably not going to be ahead. Now, people that bought before that probably have some pretty significant equity in their homes and can still make a move, but they're not going to make the kind of money that they were before. Now, this trend has flattened out some over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll see that number begin to bounce back a little bit, but this is kind of our big number. This is definitely a significant amount of price reduction or price loss in the neighborhood overall. Average closed price per square foot. You can see that this number has basically trended upward all year until the last few weeks. You know, I talk a lot about the strength of smaller homes, particularly in neighborhoods like Coronado, and how those smaller homes sell for a higher price point per square foot and therefore have kind of propped this number up. And the fact that a lot of the larger homes in the neighborhood are kind of sitting and not actually being listed and sold. So this has changed, though. It looks like overall the weakness in the pricing in the market has even hit this number itself. So again, hopefully this is not a long-term trend. We will wait to see. Average days on market, active and closed. You can kind of see this is the same story as I've been saying over and over for months. The closed numbers are more or less flat. The active and pendings are gradually increasing, steadily increasing, I should say. And this just once again reiterates what I've been saying for a while, and that is that if you are on the market and you are not getting showings or you are not getting offers, you are overpriced and you will not sell. There are no unicorns in this market. We are in a buyer's market now, so sellers need to meet the buyers, not the opposite at this point. There you have it, folks, your Phoenix market update for October. As you can see, that sales number, the average sales price, has dropped quite a bit. That's probably the scariest part of this report. 12% is not life-altering for most people. Most people have plenty of equity, but for some people, this will change whether or not they can sell right now. So if you have any questions for me, you can call me at 480-694-7643. You can also leave a comment here or direct message me. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Also, if you are looking for regular updates, both for Central Phoenix and Coronado, I provide those once a month. You can like or subscribe here and get all the updates you are looking for.